Hi guys, on today's video, I'm thinking about coming up with a series that pretty much talks about the character's debut and how that character and comic book changed and impact over the years. The first comic that I want to talk about and review would obviously be Superman, because it makes sense to start with the big first superhero. Okay, so I have seen Superman before in many adaptations, from movies to cartoon shows and video games too. I do remember watching YouTube videos that talk about the character's debut, and by the time I had the DC app, I have read his issue debut a few times, including the new DC Binds book. And now I want to talk about it and share my thoughts about the comic book. I also recorded the comic book pages on my PC for good screen viewing. So, Action Comics, Issue 1, created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, came out in June 1938. The cover shows him lifting up a green car and smashing it while criminals are running away. The first page pretty much shows snippets of Superman's origin story, where his planet was destroyed, and while there is no mentioning of Jor-El or the Kents, they've pretty much been called a scientist and a passing motorist. Also, instead of the Kents looking after Clark, they took him to an orphanage. Interesting how this is a quick way for Joe and Jerry to showcase who Superman is without making his origin feel long. Also, this gives us his first few superpowers, such as leaping, super speed, and super strength. In the second page, it kickstarts off with Superman got a woman tied up and meets a man about a life and death situation and wishes to speak to the governor. The next few pages, it shows Superman is bulletproof and explains to the governor that an innocent person is bound to get to the death penalty. Whoa, that's a very dark way to introduce children to the death penalty. But that's basically the short adventure that Superman did, because here in a few panels shows that he's now Clark Kent, and it also seems that this could be his first year of being a hero because he's surprised he's not mentioned yet. And the fifth page introduced the Daily Star before Daily Planet was a thing. Also, this man is not Perry White, but a guy named George Tyler. And he tells Clark about a wife beating. Seriously? Anyway, after Superman took care of that, we finally see the debut of Lois Lane, and you can already tell how different she is before any other writer have written her. Because yeah, it feels like Lois and Clark's relationship was a really rough start. And now we get to the few pages where Lois gets kidnapped, Superman chases after them, and posing the famous lifting up the green car scene. Also, this is the first time Lois meets Superman. And in the last few pages just shows Superman grabbing a criminal who might be corrupting a senator, plus it ends in a cliffhanger as well. Now, knowing the comic was good and all, it was kinda cool seeing a world build in this book, the Daily Star and Lois Lane's debut, and knowing there might be some outdated moments, I'm pretty sure your kids would like to read it. It's comic book. Just make sure you explain your kids about the electric chair. Anyway, about a year later, Superman would get another comic title with his name on it, but this time, the comic book actually felt like a director's cut. Let me explain. Knowing this video is talking about Action Comics, I also noticed that Superman issue 1 is the same story but with some new material. Examples like the Kent's debut, but Martha was just called Mary at that time, and even told Clark about responsibility and his powers. Also, this is the first time that the Kents passed away. The comics also explain about how Superman found the woman who did it. And as a matter of fact, this comic is basically reprints of Action Comics issue 1 to 4. And ever since Superman's debut, more superheroes came out, and Superman been in serials, a cartoon show that really felt like a comic comes to life, plus the adventures of Superman. Now, if you're wondering about the villains you'll expect to find in this Golden Age Superman DC Bias book, well, in Action Comics 13, Ultra Humanite would be Superman's first villain, before the whole monkey retcon was a thing. And Lex Luthor was a very different person at that time too, in Action Comics 23. Also, the Golden Age comics can't be seen as quick to read, similar to today's comics, and it depends on the story. So I guess that would do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye! If you enjoyed that video, please subscribe, share, like, ring the notification bell, and check out other videos in my channel too. Thanks for watching. Bye!